Well, the markets are open here on a Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marlon Bowling with you. I am joined by Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors, and he is based in Franklin, Kentucky. Well, for all intents and purposes, Dewey, it looked like we were going to have kind of a slow start to the day today. Let's see how things are shaping up so far. We'll go to the big board and look at our corn prices here. Just a little bit easier. We have March corn down 1 3/4. We're at 652 1/2. And now you have December a half cent higher at 591 1/2. So not a lot of movement here in the corn market. I did not see any overnight export sales announced. Maybe you did, Dewey. I didn't see anything on my end. Soybean trade this morning, we have the March contract 3 3/4 and now 4 cents lower at 1488 1/2. That's almost on the low of the day, though. I do want to take a peek at the new crop November contract here on the soybeans. And right now, it is 6.5 cents lower. We're at 13.90 3/4 per bushel. Well, on the wheat in Chicago, we are now turning higher. And March is 3 3/4 higher at 747 1/4. Meanwhile, in that hard red winter wheat in Kansas City, we're a penny and a quarter higher. March is at 833 1/4. In spring wheat trade, you have March now 3 1/4 higher at 905 per bushel in early going. Well, Dewey, let's talk about this here. The markets are just kind of meandering around. We have the big set of reports coming out a little later on this week. But recently you came out with a longer range outlook now that we have rolled the calendar over into 2023. And you were telling me before we came on live here that you discovered some things that really tweaked your attention. What is it that jumped out at you when you did that report?
There are a lot of things tweaked my attention. The purpose of this report was to get producers to think outside of the box. First thing comes to mind is always weather and so forth. We got a lot of things on the table other than that. I broke this report down in about 4 different sections. One are the economic factors longer term, geopolitical issues, and we have got a lot of those, and I went into depth on that. Another called the breadbasket blues, and then we're also looking at a powder keg.
Such as? Can you give me a hint?
I'll give you a hint. It has to do with our immigration.
Really? Okay. Didn't see that one coming. Now, I know you follow the Elliott wave theory and Elliott wave analysis. When you look at the grains here, does it project anything on any of the grains that might have some hope of maybe making new highs this year?
It's going to be difficult to make some new highs. Some of the contracts like the March, if they get above 15.10, I can't rule out the market going up and make a new high. We're really focused on weather in Argentina, but the fact of the matter is, I think part of that, or a good part of it, is already priced in. When you look at our exports to China since November down 42%, and our overall exports in beans are down 33%. And you don't hear a lot said about that, but you will.
You will. Okay, Dewey, we're going to take a break here. We'll come back and we'll open up our cattle and hog market activity on a Monday, and then we'll see what the outside markets are doing too when we come back. We are back with Dewey Strickler, and now let's go ahead and open up our livestock trade. In the early going with our quotes provided by Bar Chart here on live cattle first. Wow, there's no sense of direction here at all. Now, you do have nearby February actually gaining 22 cents. We're at 157 even per hundredweight. April only up a nickel. Well, now it's up a dime at 160.77. June was unchanged, and now it's a nickel higher. The deferred's 2 to 5 cents lower. So narrowly mixed, we'll call it, on live cattle on the open. On the feeder cattle trade, we'll call it slightly easier. January down 20 cents. The March contract 32 lower. We're at 185.32. And April down 45 at 189.37. So not much in the way of excitement in the feeder cattle market. On the lean hogs, boy, they're quiet too. February actually unchanged at 80.27. And April lean hogs now up just 12 cents. We're at 89.77. And May up 20 at 96.70. So, Dewey, I don't see anything that's really shaking the bushes here in the livestock trade to start out this week. What are you going to be watching for here?
Well, technically, when I look at the market, cattle might, and this is just a big question mark, might go up and set a new high. I'm not overly optimistic that it will. I think that the hog market's going to stay in a big, broad trade range. I think in 2023, the issues we're going to have to be looking at is demand. Now, what kind of spooks me is consumer spending as a record. You got credit card debt is also at a record at about $7,200, and then also personal savings are at a record low. So I think that's going to have a big impact on meat demand here. We'll just have to see how it goes.
You know, historically speaking, Dewey, last time we've had credit card debt that high on the part of the consumer, do you recall what that meant for the meat market overall?
Well, it does offer resistance here, but this year or this time it's a little bit different because we've got decades old problem here right now, and also we were back then looking at credit card debt was less than what it is now. But you're going to be looking at interest rates rising. Matter of fact, the average interest rate on credit cards now is about 22%. If they go higher, look out.
All right, on the Dow right now, let's take a look at what the Dow Jones Industrial Average is doing. It's up 113 points at 33,885. We mentioned earlier about the U.S. dollar index. It's kind of taken a beating today. We have the March futures down, we'll call it about 600 points. We're at 103.055. A little bit ago, it was under 103. And the crude oil trade, very strong today. February up $2.25. We're at 76.02. So that does bear watching as well. Well, Dewey, great information. Thank you, sir, for all the help today. Dewey Strickler of AgWatch Market Advisors. Janet, with that, I'll turn it back to you.